let's just dive right in. When we think about leadership, most of us picture someone at the front of the room, someone in charge. But in today's world, that picture is, well, it's completely out of date. Leadership in a global classroom and definitely in the workplace later on, it just looks and sounds totally different now.
Right. It's not about a formal title anymore or some position that someone hands to you. It's become something way more subtle, something much more personal.
And this is a huge shift. The leaders who are really making a difference are the ones who just see a need and step up. They don't wait around to be asked. They're the ones who just get things started.
Yeah, forget that whole idea that you have to wait your turn. In the world we live in now, a fantastic idea or a bold move can come from anyone, at any age. Seriously, the youngest person in the room can absolutely be the one leading the charge. So this all leads to the big question for every parent, every educator out there. In a world that rewards taking initiative, have we accidentally conditioned our kids to just wait for instructions? Or are we actually empowering them to step forward and lead? To really get a handle on this challenge, let's start with a story. And I think it's a story that many of you are going to find really familiar. It's about a wonderful, capable kid who, despite all his strengths, was pretty much invisible in his own classroom.
So, let me introduce you to Sanjay. He's 13, and on paper, he is the ideal student. I mean, he gets great grades, he's well-behaved, his teachers absolutely love him. He's that kid you can always count on. Super competent. But, and there's always a but, right? Here's the problem. In the super dynamic, fast-moving world of his international school, none of that was turning into leadership. He was never the one picked to lead a group project, and when he did have ideas, they just got lost. The louder, more assertive kids just kind of talked right over him. And when his parents asked him, hey, why don't you speak up more? His answer was just heartbreakingly simple. He said, I didn't want to sound foolish. You see, Sanjay didn't have a problem with intelligence. He had a problem with voice confidence. And believe me, he is not alone in that struggle.
So you gotta wonder, where does this hesitation even come from? Well, a huge part of it is conditioning. The kind of school system a child grows up in deeply, deeply shapes their instincts about whether to speak up, whether to take initiative, whether to lead.
Okay, so take a look at this. We've kind of broken it down into 3 common profiles. First, you've got the compliant achiever, maybe from a system like CBSE. They're amazing at discipline and getting things right, but their growth area, it's all about initiative and finding their voice. Then there's the practical leader from, say, a state board. These kids are incredible problem solvers in the real world, but might need to work on articulating their great ideas, especially in English. And finally, the confident speaker, often from an IB system. They can talk the talk, no problem, but they might need to focus more on accountability and actually finishing what they start.
So let's zoom in on that first one, the compliant achiever, because honestly, this is a situation so many parents are dealing with. These are wonderful, hardworking kids who've been trained to be excellent followers. But that very training can be the exact thing that holds them back from becoming leaders. And this right here, this is where the wires get crossed. You have a system that rewards waiting to be called on and following instructions to a T. But that's in direct conflict with a global environment that expects you to jump in, volunteer first, start your own projects, and absolutely share your opinions. It's not a failure of the child. It's a cultural mismatch.
But here's the good news. You can actually start to rewire this conditioning, and it all starts at home. You can invite their opinions on family stuff. You can let them disagree with you, respectfully, of course. Give them real responsibility, like planning a small trip. And this one's huge. Celebrate when they take initiative, maybe even more than when they just obey. You're building that voice muscle in a safe space.
Okay, so we've talked about building a voice, but what about the child who already has one? Now, for that practical leader we mentioned, the work is really about building the confidence to share their amazing practical ideas. But let's look at the other side of the coin, the kids who have zero problem speaking up, the confident speakers. They have a massive advantage, but it comes with its own hidden challenge. See, the hidden trap for these kids is that they can start to think that leadership is just about having a great idea and saying it really well. But real leadership isn't just about starting things. It's about owning the outcome. It's about accountability. And that is the difference between just being an ideas person and being a true leader. So for these kids, the work at home looks a little different. It's all about grounding that awesome confidence in real discipline. We have to insist they finish what they start, whether it's a chore or a big project. Give them long-term responsibilities like taking care of a pet that demand consistency. The lesson is simple but so powerful. Leadership is sustained effort, not just a flash of brilliance.
All right, so we've looked at these different profiles, these different paths. But now let's get to the fun part. What's the universal toolkit? What are the skills that every single child needs to become a leader in this modern world, no matter where they're starting from? Let's break it down.
These 8 skills, man, they're the absolute foundation. It's not just about voice and initiative. It's about ownership, really taking responsibility for how things turn out. It's about consistency, being that person people can rely on. And then you've got the skills that truly make a leader. Empathy, having the courage to speak up when it's uncomfortable, and the humility to know you don't have all the answers. This is the real blueprint for 21st century leadership.
And that really boils down to this one simple truth. Real leadership isn't a title you're given. It's the trust you earn from the people around you by showing up with these skills day in and day out.
Okay, so we have all this great info. Now what? What's the actual path forward? Well, it really just comes down to figuring out your child's starting point and then understanding what their specific journey looks like.
So, if we boil it all down, it looks something like this. For the compliant achiever, the main job is to learn to step forward and use their voice. For the confident speaker, it's about learning to stay accountable and finish what they start. And for that awesome practical leader, it's about learning to claim their space and believe they belong there. Each path is different, but they all lead to the same place: confident, responsible leadership.
At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. We're in a world now where the most valuable skill you can have is the ability to create your own opportunities, not just wait for them to be given to you. The work of building a leader starts right now, in our living rooms and our classrooms. So the real question is, what's the very next step you're going to take?